Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Unquestioned Podcast with Louis Debaere and Willem Himpe. And today is another day where Louis is not in his own home. He is somewhere else. Louis, tell me, where are you sitting?
You can tell this is not my apartment. I am at the showroom of our dear friend of the podcast, Sim. So there's a guest today, and we've been teasing him. We've been talking about him, Sim, and people have had questions. So Sim, please introduce yourself.
Yes. First of all, thanks for the invite. Very hyped to be on the podcast. So my name is Sim. I'm the founder of Simpools. Obviously, we are here with some swimming pools in the back. I started the company 5 years ago in a reaction to the problem that you pay way too much for a modern swimming pool or a hot tub. And we found a solution by creating a wooden structure or a deck around swimming pools or hot tubs. And it started with my first creation at my parents' home, and people loved it that much that I was forced while being a medicine student of making something of this. And that's how it all started. And I've been doing it since 5 years. Now we have our own showroom here. But it's just went so fast. In the back, you can see like our different solutions. We have the Sim pool, so the swimming pool with the wood around it. We have the Sim tub, which is a basic spa with some wood.
Very familiar with that model.
Yes, it is. And then in the back, you can see it if you focus. We have like a digged in pool, but not completely, because we also have a lot of people with the demand of this kind of pool. And that makes me have the following question. What kind of pool are you guys taking home today?
Wait.
Talking like a true salesman.
Yeah, exactly. He's already ahead of topic, sales, and he doesn't waste his time or our time.
But I would slow down maybe a little bit and as well create the connection where I think the friendship started beforehand. Well, all of three of us were in a startup accelerator, but you guys as well are connected through some startup lingo, and a famous quote of you, Louis, is eating your own dog food. And I've heard you ate Sim's dog food one day. Explain a little bit about that.
I definitely did. What was it like?
Yeah, I remember Sim telling me after the fact, the first time I dropped my my favorite word, which is dog fooding. He was like, what the hell does that mean? And dog fooding, eating your own dog food, means that you simply use your own product yourself. So it would be kind of strange for Sim, after selling pools all day, to chill in the evening in a different model that he doesn't sell from someone else. And you might be surprised how often that happens. What are you selling? Selling a accounting software. What do you use for your invoices? This other software. So I'm very passionate about that topic. And as the ultimate dog fooder, I couldn't resist. And I got myself my very own Sim tub, which is a lot of fun. Sim helped me install that. Willem, if you don't mind, before we jump to the sales topic, we've teased it before. You also have another day job. Can you just quickly tell us what else that you do before we move on to the topic?
Yeah, sure. So like I said previously, I studied medicine. And then we came to the point where I finished the education of 6 years. And I had the startup. But let's be honest, startup life is kind of risky. And I did the commitment of studying 6 years. So I was like, maybe there's some kind of way to make those two work and combine them, since we're still growing and we're still making steps. And that's when I realized, let's try both. So last year I combined being a general doctor and being the leader of our startup and the CEO of Simpools. And I did that by working the first half of the day in my startup and the second half of the day in the medicine world. And that was very hard, I must say. It was very challenging, since I constantly had to switch between those two
Right.
topics, and it was they're both very different, and they both have their own problems. I don't know what's the word to say in English.
Yeah, the context.
You had
Basically-
different little
It was
tinfoil hats on your.
it was it was hard. That's why I changed it this year. Now I'm working like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday on the startup, full focus, from 7 until 7 o'clock in the evening. So I have my room to go and just make the best of it. And then on Thursday and Friday, I work in Blankenbergen at the coast in a very nice place where I see a lot of patients and I learn a lot about medicine. And it's my second week now, and it feels really good combining those two. It's finally coming together. And yeah, I know that one day I will have to make a choice. But for now, it's all good, and I really like it.
Yeah, definitely not a standard 9 to 5 setup.
No.
We already teased it in a previous episode. So thank you for being, I guess, our silent star and what a big example of combining two things.
Maybe one question in between is, Sim, are you sure? Does it still work? Because owning an own company and as well a medical practice, you always have patients that have, let's say, issues when you may be working on your startup, or customers of your startup that are intervening while you're working as a doctor. Is it regardless possible to really keep them aside, or you just try to do it as much as possible to keep them separate and based on these timings you just shared?
It's a good question. What I would recommend completely is to draw a clear line when you're focusing on the one topic and the other. So the mistake I made last year was to combine both in one day, and that was like sometimes it was too much. And also last year we hired our first 2 employees, and since I had to split that much between being here and being at the doctor's office, I lost those 2 employees because they didn't got the support they deserved in a starting phase. And I believe that's different now, since they can count on me when I'm here. And yeah, it's just clear for everyone that those 2 days, they don't get to reach me that easily. If there's like a big problem, they can obviously reach me, but it's more clear for everyone what they can expect from each other, and that creates more rest, I think.
So I to understand it, very managed expectations from for people as well, listeners, if they have multiple, let's say, endeavors or ventures that they're running, is with your employees or your team, your co-founders, manage expectations so you don't come into a conflict or problems along the way.
Sure, yeah, that's how it is, and that's what I learned. Like I said before, there will be one day when the company deserves full focus of someone being the CEO. But for now, it all works and we're doing our thing. And yeah, it makes me happy to combine them. It's also some kind of a thing I need to be in a lot of places at the same time. It keeps me sharp. Yeah, all good for me right now.
Amazing. You go, Louis.
Well, let's jump in, not into the pool, but into our, I guess, maybe a little bit of a debate, because you're both in sales roles, and if I could say so, you're quite good and aggressive salespeople. So I'd love to hear what.
What's aggressive?
I mean, by
Sim,
that,
how
I mean,
aggressive are you?
I wouldn't want to be on the other end, because as you can see, I already went home with a pool. So luckily, Willem hasn't sold me too much yet. Yeah, we want to explore some sales tactics and see what you've learned over the years. For example, what was different when you made your first sale, and what have you changed also working together with your team along the way?
I want to add something. I wouldn't say that I am an aggressive sales person, but I learned to become one. And that's,
So
I
it was
believe
not
that.
So
naturally.
what changed then?
What changed? Yeah, let me take you guys back to when I was in the first year of my startup. And I just made the realization that I have good product. But then yeah, I had to bring the product to the customer. It's not like they will just come to your house and ask, okay, we want this. What does it cost? No, it all started with marketing. And then what I did was like starting from zero. I got my parents' car. I drove all the way through Belgium and I tried to convince some people that showed interest online to buy my products. But the word convince I just used is not correctly,
Mm-hmm.
because the first time I tried to do sales, I was just sitting there giving my price. And then I was just like, okay, so you have any further questions?
No call to action.
No, there was no call to action at all. And even I would say, I believe you need some more time to think about it. And those people would say, yes.
Willem is already going.
And then you're just like,
He's scratching.
I think Sim as well.
No, the Sim of today is
that's the worst. That's the worst strategy to try to sell.
You know what? I don't want your money. I want you to wait for years and think about my solution.
I'm just here to listen.
You know better. So you took the show on the road. What is it like now that you have a place to bring people? Obviously, they need to show up. I've seen you organize events where you bring a lot of people here at once. How does that change the process for you?
It changed a lot because, well, like what I just said was like at first I got to the people and I just got to show like some pictures, but that wasn't enough for some people. Well, we did manage to get some sales, but I call those sales like low-hanging fruits. So these are like people really wanting your product and they're like
Early
basically
adopters.
fans. They're fans.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's not how you build up
Growing company.
a growing company. Exactly. So after that, I was smart enough to get someone doing the sales for me, someone with a lot of experience. And then we got to the next step and it was like building a young sales team. But that's when I made another mistake. And that mistake was like not bringing a lot of experience to those sales team, but just telling them what I thought were good sales. Yeah, that we noticed that was wrong because it showed that there weren't a lot of sales being done. And then we took like the full class, the full sales training with the different colors a client might be in his personality and how you can change your own character in the moment to fit with someone's character. And that's when I really noticed, oh damn, the sales stuff it's a game and you really have to play it and go all in to get it done. And that's when I first started enjoying sales. So I don't know with you, Willem, did you also make some steps?
I think when I will talk first in my startup experience that in the beginning, I made the same mistake as you, is saying, we're building a beautiful product and some early adopters, the low-hanging fruit, they're excited. But even you as a founder, you say like, oh, wait, I think the product is not perfect yet. Let me work on it a little bit, 6 months, maybe a small year until it's perfect. And then I'll sell it to you. And when a person is there with his money, you better, let's say, take that opportunity. And while they're using your product, keep improving your product along the way. So that's one advice that many
I remember you being at the office in Ghent, like working day and night on the same website and the same stuff, wanting the perfect product for your customers. Yeah,
there wasn't no customers
because, like you said before, you just have to get the first ones. And I have a beautiful saying that really confirms what we're talking about, and that's when you're happy about your first product, you launch too late.
Correct.
So you just have to send and develop along the way.
And amazing as well. I think I learned this from Louis. Louis learned it maybe from someone else. Is like action creates information. Is by you actually taking action into the market, putting the swimming pool out there. First of all, making a swimming pool for yourself and learning from it. So what went wrong? That creates information and makes you strive forward and make improvements on all different levels of a company. And I would say that's the best thing you can do is just act and then learn from the actions you take. And with a salesperson, another thing is, I loved you said being aggressive. We Belgians, we have a culture of sometimes not daring to put yourself too much out there or being the center of attention. And that's actually what you have to do as a founder, because no one knows your product. No one thinks they will ever need your product. So you really have to be in a positive way, go aggressive out there, shout it up if it's now online, offline. And that's the only way how you can jumpstart the engine and keep going. And the one thing is you hired 2 people, and maybe sometimes I've had a similar thing is like when you teach the founder sales skills to a new person, it's not works always the same way. A founder has certain, let's say, key characteristics. He has like authority and he's kind of the CEO, and he sometimes needs less sales skills to be able to sell something, where another person does not need that.
It's called founder's magic.
Founder's magic. Okay, maybe
Because you're buying the founder in a sense.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
maybe explain a little bit about your first founder magic. Why do you feel that it's really special? What's the strength of that, Sim?
Talking about my first sale, or what do you mean?
Yeah, kind of you as your first sales that you did. I had it the first when I was a founder and speaking up with higher people that have money and were able to buy my product, and suddenly I get a big sale and like, I'm like amazed how did a student like me was able to sell something. I wondered how your feeling was that.
That's a very good question. I just noticed that it's been years that I thought about that moment. So I was driving my parents' car, like this big Renault. It's old seats in it, and just going full adrenaline on the road, and getting a lot of no's, because a common question was like, and how many of these pools have you built? And I had to come clear and say just one. And that was like a thing for people to hesitate about. But I came to this house, this lovely lady, and she was it was so hot that moment that like there was sweat dripping off her face while we were talking about the pool. So I had that in an advantage. And I thought to myself, like, okay, we're going to go all the way. We're all in right now. And we got to the question again, and how many of these pools have you built? And I just said, like, we did some. Like some.
As a program, I'm like, one is part of some.
Exactly. And then it just all went really fast. She signed. I left, took some pictures of the garden. I stepped in my car, turned the radio max, and drove home with my hands out of the car and just a big smile on my face.
First sale.
Not realizing in what kind of misery I would put myself, because I didn't even had someone who could could supply me or help with the installation. It was all not figured out yet, but I had the first sale, and that's what kept me going. The beautiful thing is this lady is still a fan today. It's been
Amazing.
5 years. Yes, so that's an amazing feeling. It's kind of addicting, the feeling of doing a sale, not for yourself, but also knowing that you really get to solve a problem for a client. And that's something I really believe, that you have to believe in yourself doing the sale, and believing that you provide a good solution, and that if they don't choose for your solution, they choose another one, which might not be that good.
So you're helping them.
So you're helping them.
It's your duty to.
Exactly.
I would add to that helps with the aggression, because it's your duty to help your customer. You want them to have the best solution to solve their problem. So in a way, it's not a negative thing to be aggressive of wanting them the best solution that helps them. And that's a good kind of mind shift that helped me as well. It's like, I have the best solution. I know, I believe in it, and I should convince my customer to do it as well, because otherwise they'll have a lot of issues in the future if they buy a $100,000 swimming pool, for example, instead of a much more, let's say, budget proof swimming pool of Simpools.
8K, right here. 8K.
No, not too aggressive, with your sales tactics.
The story reminds me of actually another swimming pool giant, Willie Nelson's, because of the confidence and the charisma. Makes me think if he was in front of me, I think I would sign anything. So, how close are you to developing an extra founder charisma? Are you still sometimes you have to play a role, or does it come more and more naturally to you?
After 5 years now.
Yeah, so it's something that I realized only after 2-3 years when Peter joined me in the company. He's my colleague now. We do a lot of things together, and he told me like, Sim, the reason I stepped in is because of you. You're carrying this business and you're the face of this business. At first, I was like, no, it's about the pools and it's about the solution we bring. But then I realized, okay, that there's also a lot of people buying me being a person who guarantees that they're buying something good. And also, it's my name's in it. So Sim is in Simpools. And I didn't thought about it that way for a long time, but now I see how important it is. And we apply it in social media. So I put my face a lot of on the internet. And also when I visit a project being built, people really appreciate it, seeing me. And like a question I get a lot of times still is, are you still studying medicine? And
right. Yeah,
that's something
from our listeners.
yeah, and that's something that comes from like newspapers, TV. So it's still out there. People still make a connection between the medicine student and the swimming pool company.
I think that's a fun thing is like once you put a message out there or your story,
it stays.
You can never really know how much further and late or longer, or let's say for a very long time, it affects people's decisions and it affects the world. You think, I put that one video or that one news article, and in a week it's not relevant anymore. But for another person buying a swimming pool 7 years from now, they say like, oh my God, here of a founder who studied combined medicine and swimming pools, and now he's a massive swimming pool giant, for example. I want to buy it from him. And I loved your stories, like people buy from people. Okay, it's funny, your company name has your name in it, and that will help a lot.
It's a bit narcissistic, but it's how it is. And it's also interesting because, like you mentioned, Willie Nelson's, the biggest pool supplier in Belgium. He's not here anymore, RIP.
Rest in peace.
But now we see that they're encountering difficulties. I'm not saying it's because of his absence, but it matters. And for me, it's also interesting because, let's be honest, I'm someone who gets a lot of hype and satisfaction from building something from the bottom, and the whole adrenaline phase. But I don't think I'm the perfect person to have a big team and to think about
operator.
So I think there will be one time that I have to say goodbye to this business and start a new one.
That was one of my questions. You can keep it off the record, but can you imagine a Simpools without Sim?
Yes, it has to be. I will make it work because it's necessary. I will have other opportunities, and the swimming pool business is not my final business. That's something I'm certain about. A cool way of another startup in very early phase applying this already is the Pureto boys.
Mm-hmm.
So they started these friends of us who make puree, so smashed potatoes, very trendy again. And they started with posting their faces all the time. So it was just like you just made the instant link. And now they're only existing like 1.5 years. They're already putting other faces of their team on the social media. So that's
so now it grows beyond that.
Yes. And that's how you really grow, I believe.
I want to see the grandma of the mixed puree.
Yeah, I think what's pretty cool over there is like the more and more people you add to it, the more and more stories of other, let's say, people that are involved in the brand or in the company, more emotion and more, let's say, customers, you can grow that way. But what I would say is like once you would start with a new endeavor or the founder leaves the company, a lot of, let's say, operations and stuff need to be in place so it can run without this founder or without this key pillar.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that's not in place, I don't think it's with Willy Nassens with this, because he left it goes bad. He has a lot of systems and a massive company that is running well, I think, without him. But you lose a lot when that builder in that company has left. And the reason why I'm saying it is I have my own company and I know what that energy of being a builder in a team. And I worked sales within a company where all the 3 founders actually left, and you feel it. It's like, it's more just execution mode. The heart and soul is like leaving a little bit. It's more like making systems so that the shareholders in a way are happy, and then you, let's say, the employees are just happy. But it's not like, let's go conquer the world with this company. That is only like true founders or true people that are from day one there, and that can bring over that energy and that message to the team.
You have to build a foundation, but I do believe that I'm the perfect one for creating something, being very creative, pushing it way more than someone else would push it, and then delivering it to someone, being a better person in making an organization work. So yeah, I don't say startups are like plug and play, but there comes a time when you just have to realize that someone's better at what you're doing at the moment. And for me, I believe there will be people being better at making the organization work rather than starting an idea.
Yeah, and doesn't mean that the DNA of the company cannot survive. Because, for example, Apple, the ghost of the legendary founder is still there. Yet at the same time, Tim Cook that took it over. I feel I'm myself more of an operator, Tim Cook-like type. And Steve Jobs told them, don't ask yourself, what would Steve do? So there is a difference, obviously, but it doesn't mean that the philosophy cannot be ingrained. Now, of course, that takes years. So yeah, hopefully you can keep the legacy in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, I think maybe we wrap it up here. I loved this episode. It was not fully sales. It was a bit amazing background story of Sim, and as well a little bit of eating your own dog food and founder mentality, founder mode in the beginning towards the end of a company. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And Sim, hopefully we as well would love to that you come back on the pod somewhere along the line and see the updates.
Maybe we can film some podcasts in the hot tub.
I think so. That's
again. There's that aggressive salesmanship. He wants us to now go naked.
yeah.
Maybe I'll provide like a code for the listeners to get like a little discount.
Are you our first sponsor? Well, for me it's good. Louis, if you agree, I would say let's do it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode of the Unquestioned Podcast, and we're looking forward to the next episode. See you soon. Bye-bye.